Hello and welcome to this explanation of how to use Teams, a solution to team working at home. Obviously we are in a situation where it could be difficult for you to be able to get the whole of your team together in one place, and with the likelihood of possibly having to work at home in the future, we wanted to find a way that you're able to collaborate with your team and make sure that we can maximize any times we do have to be able to collaborate and work. Teams is the answer to that. So why use Teams? Teams is a really good package because it allows for the following. It allows collaboration between individuals and groups. You can communicate, you can chat, you can video conference, you can share ideas either with somebody else one-to-one, or you can work as a group. It allows you to do joint working on documents. We don't have the problem of saving it to one person and they make some changes and then that gets overwritten and then you lose what you do. Teams allows you to work on one document, all of you working at the same time and ending up with one completed version. It allows one person to be able to access your organisation drives. A little bit more about that in a moment because that is really key to what we've been looking at as a trust during today. And it allows you, as I've just mentioned, to chat and video conference with anybody within your team to be able to share information. Sometimes we know that when we send emails, they might not come across how we want them to be portrayed. So by video conferencing, face-to-face communication stops any misconceptions, allows you to be able to have that conversation in person. So we had a particular problem. We were asked, is it possible for us to be able to have access to our work drives so that if we are working from home, we're able to work collaboratively on particular projects? Now, the problem with this is there is a cost element to it. For every person that is wanting to access their work machine from home, you need a separate standalone computer. You also need a monitor. In most of our schools, that is averaging about £1,500 per school. In some schools slightly more, some schools slightly less. Not economically viable. We have not got budgets really where we can be paying out £1,500 at a time. So we wanted a solution. Solution is Teams. Teams will allow us to be able to share documents, access our work documents collaboratively. How do we do that? Well, I'm now going to show you how that is possible. Now, how do I actually access Teams to start with? Well, all of us have access to Teams. It is a package that Medway buy into, that we buy into as a trust. So we all should be familiar with this screen here, your Outlook, where you access your emails. Now, if you click on this dotted part at the top, it will provide you with a number of options. Now, the options that will come up will look like this. And within these options, you'll see that we have one called Teams. What you need to do is to click onto this. Now, once you've clicked onto Teams, you'll see a bar that looks very much like this one on the side, which has a number of different options. Now we have activity. Activity shows your activity feed, so it shows you all of the different groups and individuals that you're interacting with. It records your conversations so that you're able to see and have a record of all of that dialogue that you've been having. We have chat. This allows you to hold a chat with either one person or with multiple people. Great for being able to keep communication going, and also, as we're about to see in a minute, to be able to share important documentation. Teams is where you can create a working group to be able to collaborate on particular projects. Again, this has got slightly more advanced features than chat, and again we'll be touching on this towards the end of our presentation. We have assignments. This allows you a chance to work on group projects and submit work. This could be something which we look at moving forward because it allows our students to be able to access their class teacher and be able to submit work that they have been set. We have calendar. Calendar is just a copy of your online calendar where you can schedule meetings, change them, see what you've got coming up. It just allows you to be able to get to your calendar without coming in and out of the Teams app. We have calls. This allows you to make calls, either video calls or audio calls to any of your contacts. And we have files where you can upload files onto the OneDrive to be able to share. Now, for our work at home, we're going to be focusing just on the chat section. Now, in a chat, when you click onto the chat, you'll come up with a screen like this. You can see on mine that I have a number of contacts down the side. You'll see that I have 2 conversations that I've had with Colin, and you can see one where I shared a file earlier with Louise. Below that, you have a whole list of suggested contacts. Now on mine, these are people that I've been emailing most recently, so your list might look slightly differently to mine. Now, if you click over here where my arrow is pointing, this will allow you to set up a new chat. Now, when you click your chat, you'll get a box where you can type in the names. Now, you can type in either one name here to have a chat with just one person, or you can type in multiple names. You can see on mine that I've started to type in Tina so that I can be having a conversation with her. Stage 2, once you have created your chat, you'll see that here I have a chat that involves both Tina and Kerry, and I have a message box at the bottom. This message box, like text messaging, will allow me to have a text conversation, and all of the people that are involved in my chat at the top are able to see that chat and to be able to join and add information to it. At the top here, we have 2 buttons. We can see that if we click on the one that looks like the phone, we can hold an audio call with any of those people that are in my group chat. Next to that, you'll see the little video camera, and as you might suggest, I can have a video conference. Again, really good for having a joint video conferencing session involving a number of people. Could be an alternative, for example, to you being able to hold your SLT meeting in an office. When you're not there, you can all make sure that you join in and have that collaboration session together. And here on my number 4 arrow, you can see that at the moment there are 3 people involved in my chat: Kerry, Tina and myself. If I click on this part here where my arrow is at number 4, I can add people into my chat conversation. So if I suddenly decide, actually, I've got particular computer questions, I could click on here and I could add Colin into my conversation, and then we would be able to have a 4-way conversation. Here I have files. Files is probably the one we're most interested in at the moment. This allows me to upload joint files. Now, really important here, if you have files that are stored on your work machine, the person who has got access to the work machine needs to have uploaded those files onto their laptop or their home machine's desktop beforehand. Okay, really important. Make sure the files that you're going to need you've uploaded before. Now, how do I go about sharing a file? Again, really straightforward. Obviously, I want to go from the file to being able to share it. So we're just going to go through very quickly the steps that you need. So first of all, what I need to do is to get to the file. So I click where my arrow is in the corner to the part that says share. When I click on share, what that will do is to bring up 2 options. I can either upload and share a file that's on my OneDrive, or I can share a file that is stored on the hard drive of my computer. Obviously, if you've got a USB device plugged into your machine as well, you'll also be able to share a file that's stored on your USB. Now, what I want to do is to share one from my computer. So I've clicked on share from my computer, and you'll see that it brings me up all of my different drives. Now, what I would then do is to go in and find the file that I want to upload. In this case, my file, because it was stored on my work machine, I've previously, to going into Teams, to save that onto my desktop, and I've called it Tasks for Colin. Once I click onto the part that says task for Colin, you'll see that it appears in my Teams under share. All we need to do then to access that is to double click on the file, and you'll see it opens the file within Teams. Here you can see that my document was the jobs that I wanted Colin to be doing during this week. The fantastic part about Teams is it allows us all to be working on the document at the same time. I can be typing, but at the same time, Colin can be typing as well. So we're both working collaboratively on the same document. Either this could be done, as I've done in this case, at the same time, or we can both work separately on the document, and it doesn't matter because as it goes along, it will save the changes. To make your experience even more interactive, I could also be sharing the document and working on it collaboratively, but I could also be video conferencing or holding an audio call at the same time. So great if you're having a discussion whilst part of the meeting. Whilst we were testing this earlier, I was talking to Colin whilst we were talking and in different rooms. Worked fantastically well. All you get is a little box that comes up in the far corner showing the person you're talking to, or obviously if it's a video conference, a picture of them. So really that is a very, very quick tour on how you can share files, how you can work collaboratively when you're not in the same building. Now there are ways that we can make it slightly more involved. If we click on the Teams button on the side, if you remember where we go in, where I had the whole list, what you can do is to create whole teams. So you can put your school, your staff into particular teams. You can see from mine, I have 2 teams. I have a teaching and learning group, and I also have a group which we set up when we were discussing the calendar for 2019-2020. Now, if you click on one of your groups, and I've clicked here on my teaching and learning group, you can see that it brings up a whole lot of options for you. I can manage my team, so I can decide who is in my team. I can add a channel. Adding a channel allows you to set up separate chats within your main group. So for example, if I had my school as my main team, I could then split that into subgroups, which Teams calls channels, and I could have a group for my MLT, for my class teachers, for my teaching assistants. Limit is down to you. You decide how you want to split your team up. Obviously I've got the option to add particular members to each group, each channel. I can leave the team, or I can delete the team altogether. Again, slightly more advanced than the chat version, but if you're feeling confident, it might be that you want to take chat to the next level and start using it as teams. So, a few final thoughts before I leave you to have a try with this. Obviously, Teams allows you to collaborate on documents, and more importantly, to collaborate on documents when you're all in separate places. So if you're off ill or it's the holidays, not that we're suggesting you work on holidays with my well-being hat on, but it allows you that chance to collaborate on documents together without physically being there. Allows you to hold meetings without being in the same place at the same time, so you can video conference in, all take part in a meeting and be able to carry out some high quality work together. Now it could just be a meeting where you're discussing things, or it could be a meeting in which you'll bring in files and documents to them, sharing and collaborating on them together. It allows you to access to all of your files, and this was the important part why we brought Teams up again today, because obviously cost element for every member of your team to have access to their work machine is really not viable. So if you've got one person in your organization that can access the trust drives, the drives in your school, then that's all you need to be able to then collaborate together on a document. So what next? Have a try. Obviously, you don't want to get to a stage where you're off of work, you're trying to work, go into Teams, it doesn't work. So have a try. If it doesn't work for the moment, then obviously you've got the contact of IT support, and they will make sure that they set the system up so it is running fully for you. Share with your staff. It might be that you want to share this presentation with your staff and get them involved in setting up teams and working collaboratively, maybe in year groups, maybe in phases, maybe as SLTs, MLTs, whatever groups you wish. Create your teams, create your chats, have a try, report any issues, and if you do bring any advanced features out, if you are using Teams, why not create your own video, upload it, share the resources together so that we can all benefit with using Teams to its full